Hello there, folks. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video, so please don't mind any mistakes I made. Today we are gonna learn Tailwind. I'm also learning with you, so uh, it's not that I'm gonna start Tailwind for the first time. I've known it for a while. I'm just gonna go more deeper in it today with you. So let's dive right into it. Oh, by the way, I'm also making notes. I'll put the link of the notes in description. Uh, It should be in Google Drive and GitHub as well. So be ready for that. Yeah, as you saw, I don't have YouTube Premium, and I'm not gonna get it anyway. But after watching the 10 seconds, I can tell that the video would be great, the quality would be great, and it feels like the guy knows what he's talking about. And I'm someone who needs that. Yep, let's dive right in. So what he just mentioned, Bootstrap, Material UI, these are also framework based on CSS. They are also used for styling. The only drawback is it's much more complicated, and for some, not at all. So we cannot make any classes by ourselves. We cannot define some other CSS components. And on along with the utilities he just mentioned that Tailwind provides. So that's why most of the companies are now moving to Tailwind. The basic use of Tailwind is much like Bootstrap. You'll get pre-built classes that you can just use. Like in Bootstrap, we have d-flex, which says display flex, and it will apply the display flex on the class component itself. Same happens with Tailwind, but it provides us to make our own classes as well. That's what I know till now. Let's see what it does. Yes. So, like all the languages, Tailwind also follows some syntax. And from what I can see right now, uh, if a property only has one name and it's not being matched by different other properties, then it will just use the names. Something like flex means my display is flex. Um, Normally in CSS, we do justify content and then we can pick center and everything. Here we can just pick justify center, justify start and all that. Same for align item becomes item. Um, One thing that changes is to change the color, we do text blue, which is in turns more uh, specified to the thing we are doing. Like we are changing the color of text to blue, and same for the font and everything. That's what I get from that. And also it's much better to learn Tailwind or any CSS thing by doing it or using these project buildups. Just because there's so much to learn and we can't learn everything. But from here, what we learn is basically more or so what we use generally. If it's something that's way too specific, and like making an animation that you are making something new out of, um, it's much better to learn that at that point and not go into everything right now. For now, even for me, I'll just learn the more general stuff that I'll more also use on every website or every anything that I make, not do 100% of it. Yeah, that's what I thought in the very beginning when I started. I was like, okay, so what's the difference between inline CSS? In fact, one difference is it makes it much smaller, but the main difference is still these are classes, not styles. So at the back end, Tailwind has a library of same CSS code, making different classes, and we're just applying those class names. So it's still we are using the classes, not the style, um, and those classes defined in some libraries that we downloaded using Tailwind. So that's what I get. Let's learn more. Um, Feel free to go ahead and search this course on YouTube and try that. I tried it. Uh, it's a good utility to have. For now, I'm making a notes and watching this with you, so um, I'll keep it to that only and not go to Tailwind Play. But it's a good website utility to have. Okay, so from this, what I get is a few syntax things. First one is, let me just write syntax for text. More or so, whenever we are dealing with any kind of text in Tailwind, the first thing is text. Um, so text is the main syntax, and then we can write different things using a dash. Something like center would be to center it for horizontally. Second is LG, which again, what was that? So that's one good thing. Uh, Margin T, MT, ML, MR, MB, they all are different classes, pre-made classes. We just have to focus on the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and all. Uh, and I'm pretty sure these are divided by pixel. Uh, I'll need to check it, but let's see he mentions it, them or not. But yeah, this 400 that we see after text scan and 400 is the weight of the text. Okay, so it's based on some variable, and that is based on the spacing, and you make it twice of that. That's good. So LG changes the font size to large. Okay, let me just write it down. Also modifies the line height, which is a good thing. So I'm guessing it's just color then, which I'm not sure why. Then we have 400. Is it symbolic to something else? Or maybe we can just search it. Let me go to ChatGPT. Why do we use Canvas 400 in Tailwind CSS? What does the Okay, so the colors are organized in a skill system. So it's not the weight, it's just how deeper the color will be. Yeah, the shades, I guess. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. So it starts with 50, goes to 200, is lighter, base, and darker. Okay, now that makes more sense. Okay, so W full is full width of the container. I'm not really sure. Does that mean it's the full width of the parent container? If I guess he said container, that means parent container. So let me just make a few notes on BZ. So for background, we'll use BZ, then color, and then shade. Same thing can be applied for background image, I think. I'm hoping you can see that I'm also learning along with you. And I might be wrong on some points I mentioned, so please clarify them if you feel that they're not right. We have more than enough utilities to learn ourselves and everything. And I'm guessing he'll also say something about that, so just be right with me and we can figure something out. For W full, that's the new for me. I thought it won't be like that, so W full will be full width of container. Border 2, I'm again guessing same as the margin. 2 is some kind of spacing. Oh, that's nice. But now I'm thinking that they are a little bit different. Okay, I'm th if you can see the pattern, you'll see that for color, for changing colors, we can use the color name with shades. So something like red 500. Okay, and there will be a prefix before. Prefix can be something like text, BG for background, and later on we'll know. So I'm gonna make a section for prefix. Something say, and the prefix will have just the abbreviation and the full name, something like BZ. And what will this represent? Text. What will this represent? So BZ will be background. Text is simply text. So that makes more sense. So that's how we change color. The second thing I can see is for margins and border. Based on spacing. So the margins and borders are based on this some kind of spacing. I'm guessing our space bar as set up in the browser. Or it should be some kind of browser utility. That's great. And width full is, I mentioned that it's full width of the container, of the parent container. One thing, rounded.md, not just because um, it's a different format, a kind of syntax, but also that making a box rounder makes it much more better. So that's something most of us will use on more or so every project we make. So rounded.md, that's great. So margin y means y-axis. And then there should be a margin X. So let me just make a margin section. Don't worry, I'll provide you with the notes after I organize it a little better, but it will be there in the description. So For margin, regular margin like margin T, MB for bottom, MR and ML. We'll see if these two are right or not. But then there's MY, which is y-axis. So this will cover top and bottom both. There should be MX, which is x-axis. That should cover right and left both. Let's see. Of course. Okay, one more thing, then padding is P, which is one more prefix that we just got to know. P is padding. Border is border. And same thing, padding is also based on some kind of spacing, because I'm just guessing it based on margins and borders, kind of the same. Margins, border, padding. Okay, so font is one more prefix, which is pretty much clear because it should be, and then it can be bold, extra bold, and mono is type of font. So type and style. That's good. I think that we missed. So we got so much from just 2 lines. Nice. That height of 10, I'm guessing it's 10%. So let me just mention that. H is height, W is width. Okay. So from this one thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the height property is not 10%. That's actually somewhere around 2.5 rem. Rem is pretty nice to use because it's more, how to say this? It makes a website more modular because RAM is defined by the system itself, depending on what kind of phone or mobile we're using. For different system, it can be different. So it's good if we specify most of the things using RAM. It will be relative to the device we are using, not to the to one specific device. Also, got nice thing. That's syntax. So for margin, it is like this: T R B L size be padding. Good. With that, padding wasn't applied from all all of them, like all of the sides, or maybe because of the flex. Very, very commonly used thing to justify a div. Okay, I just flipped or trimmed there, but uh, to make the content center or make a div center, almost all of us use that. So let me just write to make a div or items centered. There's also one mode to transform x by 50, transform y by 50, but that's too complicated. It goes into vector algebra, but still, right now this is the easiest one. We can just flex, justify center, that's horizontal, and then align center, so it will be item center. Nice. Mhm. Okay, nice thing to have. And so that's what he meant with when he said that Tailwind is flexible. Sorry for that light out there. I have to change it, and I'll put some cut in here as well. But still, and that reminds me of Bass. If you have done any Bass or system programming, whenever we are mentioning something like more going into conditions and any calculation, we use double parentheses or double braces. So just related to that, but still, so that's a syntax. If some way or another we forget what SM mean, how many pixels are there, what is text large, or text small, text medium, how much they are. If I want something more specific towards my website, good thing. So to make custom inline um, styles using JIT just in time compiler. Syntax is prefix dash suffix. So by that prefix, I mean something like border, something like W, something like BZ. Suffix is more towards the property that we want to assign or the changes we want to make. Perfect. That's right. Fix it. So it's same as CSS. They also have these four, if not more. It's just how we use them and what kind of syntax Tailwind uses. The first one was relative, self-explanatory, relative to the position we assign it at first. Then absolute. So absolute means absolute to its parent. Third is fixed. So it's like a dot on the screen and it will remain in there. Sticky, which is something I normally use most of the time. Of course, relative is something that is there. So if something like a nav bar in the left or right would be more of a fixed thing because you want it to be always there. You don't want it to go away when you scroll up or something. A sticky will be some kind of ad that you have to show. Most of the videos that you see on website, it goes up and it gets stuck here. Of course, we all know if we have done CSS before, but still, what did he say? So positions are top, bottom, left, and right. So For position, I can say top. Just for an example, top 0 will be attached to the top. Yep. Flexbox. Great. To the end. Yeah, right. So I'm still guessing X is the X-axis. So we are saying uh, between every item, I want 6 from right, 6 from left spacing. Again, 6 is the relative number defined in Tailwind. You might want to check that. Rflex. Okay, so flex is on itself naming that the display is flex. Then the flex for flex property, we can use flex to start with as prefix, and then suffix can be something like call, row. Row is by default too. Why? Okay. Yep. And space evenly. Oh, oh wait. Flexbox froggy. So grid has grid, of course. It has grid calls and number of calls. So I'm guessing can be grid rows as well, and number of rows to make it like an Excel sheet. Gap, which I'm not sure about. We'll check. Yeah, media. Okay, so one more syntax. MD colon should be medium devices. Of course, we're gonna not gonna remember everything. We'll have to use it many times. But MD block means, I think, what was that position? No, it should be something else. Block was display, right? Yeah, it should be display. This is good. So small devices, similarly, we have SM, MD, large, XL. It's like buying a t-shirt or something. Yep. Okay, so that's a good thing to note. Default, it's min width. To change, add max prefix. That's good. So this will work on small and above. So basically everything. Oh no, it's greater or equals to this, then only apply. So if it's greater or equals, then less than that won't be. Aha, yep, yep. That's what I just mentioned. Small means small and above, but actually that small is just that equal. So what Tailwind defines as small. So if it's small at 400 pixel, anything at or above at 400 will get those styles. Anything less than that, so if your screen size is 399 pixels, there won't be anything. So that's what I just thought. I was just thinking of that. So if I want to apply, let's say, black for anything less than 400, and orange for anything more than 400, that doesn't mean that if I apply only small, the rest will be black or something. I guess I'm not explaining it well enough, but still. So we need to get rid of the small and write something for everything, and then we can change it for small, medium, everything, I guess. Yep, yep. Okay. Guys, I'm not getting money from any of those. Of course, I'm not paying to YouTube to get rid of those ads as well. Yep. Okay, so theme, by inside theme, we uh, write different kind of variables. in CSS. So we already have these breakpoints and everything. By access means the X and S, if I write that as a class, will define a breakpoint of 30 rem. So defining variables. That's variables are considered more of an advanced CSS, which is normally not true for other languages. Variables are more also the first thing we learn on different languages, but because CSS is more of a library-based uh, language, so we don't really use variables because everything is predefined and we have different classes and properties. So we just use that, and we don't make a new property using variable more or so. That's good. Okay, okay, this is good. More easier than defining variable, because in variable you first define the variable and then use that variable to in terms of using SM and MD, you can use the variable name and then define the property. This is much better if it's something you're not going to use at many places. Then, so let me just write that down as well. We can be min. So I'm getting that if we are using uh, arbitrary values, then we have to define if it's going to be min or max, so that it knows from which point to consider if it's less than or more than that. Something nice to have. And folks, at this point, we're going to take a break. It's been like 1 hour, a perfect time. I hope you enjoyed the video. There is nothing to enjoy. Basically, you are learning, but still, enjoying learning is also a good thing. Um, and I'll see you on the next video where we'll finish this in the part 2 of Tailwind CSS. Bye bye.